So I have, for the past, I guess it's been 3 months, it was kind of very timely. I've been taking an in-depth course with our major meditation teacher. Her name is Sally Kempton. And she's been doing her take on the Yoga Sutras, which has been really fabulous because, not to get too into it, but the Yoga Sutras are written from one perspective, which a lot of you would know. It's a very dualistic, like, how do I get out of my body to become more spirit? How do I separate from the world so that I can be more spiritual? But the type of yoga and philosophy that Steve and I follow, which Sally Kempton does too, is a non-dualistic tradition of Tantra. And what's beautiful about it is that she has, and also with the text that she's using from a man named Pandit Raji, and he is also a non-dual. And so what that means is, real quickly, is that non-dual is basically just saying that everything that is in the world, we want to experience. Instead of trying to get away from our senses and our emotions and our thoughts, we want to experience them, but we want to be aware of how they affect us. So, for instance, we're not going to ever get away from the mind, but if we can get to the point through meditation to be able to observe how our thoughts are controlling us or how our emotions are controlling us, that's the non-dualistic way of doing it. It's like where everything is part of our life and we want to experience it, but we don't want to be torn down by it. One prime example when we're teaching that in teacher trainings, we'll say, well, what about something like grief? Because I think people get the impression that, well, if you're doing that, then you just become like this non-entity and you're very sick, and you don't really feel it. You feel it, but it doesn't tear you down to the core because you realize that everything, including death and transformation, is part of the life process. Instead of trying to ignore it, we accept it, and we're sad because someone's gone, but we're not devastated long term. Sometimes we are. Sometimes it takes longer for us to come out of grief than other times. But so this non-dualistic version of the Yoga Sutras has been very informative for me. It's taken me back to the basics of what we teach in yoga teacher training. And the 8 limbs have been very revealing to study. And one of the things that she talks about, so there are 8 limbs, and what we're doing as far as movement and poses, which is called asana, is number 3 on the ring. Now that doesn't make it any less, because really all 8 limbs are supposed to be going on at one time to get to what's considered samadhi. Asana, as she was reminding us over the past few weeks, especially when it came up, is it's supposed to, in its best and purest form, is to not only lead us to be able to sit longer in meditation and to basically have more of the ability to be in our bodies during that. But partly it's also about doing the meditation while you're doing the poses. So that's my long introduction to tonight. What I'd like to ask us to do, there might be a few longer holds. I'd like you to watch your mind tonight. How does it react to certain things? Like if we do a pose that you don't like, that's going to probably be the most obvious. When we say, okay, now we're going to do, and you go, oh God, I was hoping you didn't. That's the most obvious. But can you also be in it when you feel like you're in the flow and suddenly you realize that you're doing the pose before the teacher, or suddenly you realize that you're not keeping up with everybody else, and it's okay, but it's like, what was the distraction? There's so much to learn in those moments on our mat about where is our mind. So that's why we always talk about breathing. Because if you're not breathing, you're probably focused up in here, so you bring it back down. When you're doing a pose that's a little bit more strenuous for you, or it's really taken a toll on you to do it, but you're determined to stay into it, then breathe deeper. Let the body go, let your energies open, that kind of thing, all right? So we're gonna start with a little meditative, just some sound tonight, okay? So go ahead and close your eyes. We're gonna bring ourselves into a place of centeredness and meditation before we start the practice, and then try to stay with that as we go through. So I think everyone in the class knows Ujjayi breath. And those of you who are perhaps watching this and don't know Ujjayi breath, just breathe through your nose in and out as much as possible. A little bit more guttural. And focus your attention on the breath. And see if you can maintain keeping that focus there. So breathing out. And in. Straight up behind your eyebrows to your forehead. Then as you exhale, allow it to come back down that same path and right out through the nose. Just do a couple of those. Exhale, go ahead and release your hands. We're going to just bring the fingertips back behind us. And then roll the shoulders back. And we're going to lift the sternum up towards the ceiling. So you can do a little light tuck of the tailbone to feel a clearing in your lower back. But really feel that lift through the upper back and the sternum. And then just find your breath again. Back to neutral. Bring your right hand over to your left knee. Left fingertips are going to turn away from you now, and just find a nice twist. So the sutras also say that our poses are supposed to be steady, but full of ease. It can be a little difficult for the type A in a lot of us. Inhale, coming back to center, and then switching sides. Can you find a place where you're energizing the body with some tapas, some heat? Also allowing it just to open up naturally without too much effort. Beautiful. Go ahead and come back to neutral. We're gonna bring the left fingertips out kind of wide and crescent over, but we're gonna just track that right hip down. Take a nice deep breath. And we're opening the body. That's our intention. Inhaling up and then back over. So right fingertips out pretty wide, and then left arm stays nice and straight if possible. Track that, the left hip down. And then just twist over. Exhale, come on back to neutral, and we're going to come on up to standing. So feet about hip distance apart. We're just going to inhale, take the arms up overhead. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and then just pull up. So get your torso nice and elongated. Feel that groundedness down through your feet. Open your toes and see if you can feel your arches. Beautiful. Exhale, just switch hands. And keep breathing nice and deep and long. Good. Switch hands back. So your left hand is grabbing your right wrist, and we're going to take our right foot back behind us as a little kickstand and pull up. So we're doing a little balancing. We're going to try to crescent over to the left, keeping the arms nice and straight. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to center, and then switching sides. So that left foot will come back, and then we'll just stretch on over. Nice deep breaths here. Good. Exhale. Come back to neutral. And inhale. Let's take the arms up. And then exhale back down. Inhale up. One more time back down. Bring them down behind your back. And then we're just going to do a little chest opener. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring the chest. Keep the ears going back towards the shoulders, and then breathing. So you can keep that concentration on what you're doing. Even though you're going to hear my voice with instruction, perhaps you can just exhale, release. Perhaps you can just tune into the voice and follow that. And I'll try to be as clear as possible tonight. Inhale, take the arms up, and then exhale, fold. So we do that half lift. So inhale, use your shins, feel that nice extension out. The crown of the head goes straight out to the spine. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. One more time, inhale up. On your exhale, deliberately placing the hands and taking that right leg back into a high lunge. Square the hips off. Reach out through the crown of the head. Feel the lunge that you're in the pose. And after then we stop moving and we breathe into it. On your exhale, we're going to take the left foot back to meet the right, and then come into plank pose. Slow lower down to the floor. Feet flat out. Inhale, up dog and cobra. Taking it easy on yourself. Breathing. Exhale, releasing down and pushing back into down facing dog. Go ahead and pedal your heels out. Give yourself some space to open up the backs of your legs. And then even in something as basic as this, see if you can keep your mind on your breath and your body. Next inhale, we're going to bring the right leg forward, finding that lunge on the side. Taking a breath. And then inhale. The back foot comes forward. Inhale that half lift. Exhale, going a little bit deeper, noticing the body warming up. On your next inhale, we're going to take the arms up overhead. Hands back down from the heart. Exhale, release down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. On the exhale, hands placed on the floor, right leg back, high lunge.
Exhale, left leg back, plank pose. On your next exhale, we'll start to release down to chaturanga on the floor. Inhaling, up dog or cobra. Exhaling, down facing dog. Finding the breath. Good. On your next inhale, bringing the right leg forward into that high lunge. Left leg to meet it. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward. Inhale, arms out, up, and overhead. Hands to heart. Put your eyes closed for a moment. Connect with the sound of the breath, and without judging yourself, observe what your thoughts might be. Whether it's judging the practice already, or how tight or tired, or whatever it might be, just notice it without any judgment. That's a big first step in letting go. Go ahead and open the eyes, inhale, take the arms up, exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. We're going to step back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we're going to bring the right leg forward, high lunge to low lunge. The back foot's going to be flat on the floor. And then we're going to come to both hands being on the front knee. Finding yourself into a warrior one position, a low lunge warrior one, and breathing deep. On the exhalation, bring the arms down slowly, place them on either side of that front foot, and coming onto all fours. We're going to lower down with the toes on the floor, the knees on the floor. We're going to now bring the hands are on the floor. We're going to bring the chest and the chin to the floor, and the hips remain up. 8-point pose. Breathing. Releasing the hips to the floor, up dog or cobra. Exhale. On back to all fours. So in your own rhythm and feeling your own meditation in your body, just find a cat-cow that works for you, okay? So it can be inhale up, exhale, it doesn't matter, just find what works. A lot of you inhaling into cat, exhaling in. For those of you at home, it might need a little bit of instruction, just finding an inhale in one direction, exhale on the other. Beautiful. Then you're going to come up onto your knees. If you need more padding, you can just roll this in. We're going to leave the toes under, and the emphasis, what we're doing is stretching the balls of the feet. So I have tricky knees too, so here's a couple options. Those of you who can sit back all the way, you're going to sit back and get this stretch. Those of us who might be concerned about knees, doesn't look like anybody is having any trouble with that here, but at home you can also just pull back, which is going to work your core. Actually, this is harder. So now we're all going to come up directly. And then we're going to bring our hands to the hips. So we'll have our knees right under our hips here. Roll the shoulders back. That same lift we did when we were sitting. So sternum up to the sky. And now take the pelvis under so that tailbone goes under just slightly to give you some support and to really engage your core and bring the heart up towards the ceiling. Exhale, or release down, and we're going to come back onto all fours. Bring your hands forward enough that you can push back into downward facing dog.
We're going to refine our dog just a bit. So bend your knees, take your hips back, take the underarm up away from the floor and melt your heart down a little bit more, then start to straighten your knees. Feel that beautiful opening in the hamstrings, the glutes, the hips. Find your breath. And then start to just walk your feet up to your hands. You're going to bring the hands all the way up, overhead, exhale, back down, inhale, up, exhale, fold. Inhale, that half lift, and then you can jump back to downward facing dog or step back. So we're feeling the pose, so you might think, well, you've got the series down now, but can you stay with it, even if it is exactly the same? I'm not saying it is, but if it is, taking the hips back, feel the opening of the body. This time we're going to bring the right leg forward. We're switching sides. Did we switch sides? If I have your right leg forward? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, so coming down.
Are you on your other side?
No.
Okay, switch sides if you're not. At home, just make sure you're getting balanced. I told you I would try to be clear. That was my best attempt.
Tell me the other way.
We're going to have the foot flat first and bring both hands to the front knee. Beautiful. Exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up to a warrior one variation. Breathing. Nice. One more full breath here. Exhale, hands down to either side of the front foot and push back into downward facing dog.
Come forward to plank pose on this side. And we're going to bring our knees down, keep the toes turned under. Again, finding 8-pointed stars so the 8-pointed pose, the chest and the chin come down. Hands, feet, knees, hips are lifted. On your next inhale, lower the hips. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. On your next exhale, coming to all fours. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. Take your right leg back and your left arm forward. Toes are straight down towards the mat, fingertips out, and then find your breath as you pull into the core. And you can let go of the thoughts. Exhale, release. And then switching to the other side. Left leg back, right arm forward. Exhale, release. Coming onto your knees again. And bring our hands in front of our heart. We're doing a mini back bend. Without any support on our lower back, just bringing our hands up. If your arms need to be out, tuck the tailbone. And we're bringing the upper body, so taking the shoulder blades under and up. So not really affecting your lower back. Breathing. Beautiful. Exhale, release down. Coming into downward facing dog. And then start to walk your feet up to your hands or jump forward. Inhale, arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Just noticing if there's a meditative aspect to your practice, or if your mind's just, it's like mind on a while. Exhale, release. So we're going to do some shoulder stretches that are going to actually take us into
focused meditation. So what's really nice about balancing poses is that you know if you start to think too much, you know, so you have to really kind of keep your center in your core. So first we're just going to open some shoulders up. So just take your left arm across the body and open it up. And then just switch sides. Good, just release it out, kind of. Now a lot of you won't need a strap. I'm going to do this to show you what you do. So we're going to bring our, let's see. I'm going to bring my right arm up overhead. So if your hands meet here, you'll just put your forearms to the back of your head and then meet your hands together. So you can also use a strap or a belt or a tie or something, or even a towel, long towel, and get that opening. If you're using the strap or if your hands are clasped, then a slight pull away from each other will intensify the stretch a little bit. And then just take a nice deep breath here. And then we're going to switch sides. Just keep taking a couple nice deep breaths. And then exhale, release. So we're going to do eagle arms. So let's bring, just so we're all doing it on the same side, we're going to bring the left arm out and the right arm in. So we would love to be able to bring our hands together here. But those of you who might have some shoulder issues, you can just bring it to right here, wherever you need. Beautiful. Good. Good. Bring your right foot out and onto your big toe. So now we have to focus. Pull up the arch on your left foot and see if you can lift that foot up slightly. Good. And just bring the toe back down. We're going to bring the toe to the front. Touch. To the side. And then to the back. Back to the side. And in. Exhale. Release the arms and switch sides. So we're going to pull the arch up in the foot. Once we've got the arm position, so now you're going to pull the arch up into the foot of your right foot. Make sure it's nice and grounded. We just first find our balance by bringing that left toe out. The drishti is like staring off into the space where you can just let everything go. We're going to bring it to the front. One side's more going to be easier than the other. Back to center, or off to the side, and then back behind us. Beautiful. Back to the center, and then in and release. Beautiful. Good. It takes a little concentration, doesn't it? All right, so back onto the right foot, we're going to bring the left leg up. So we're going to have the, it's cutting my head off. So we're on the right foot, right foot. Going to bring the left leg up. So the left foot is if we're standing. Good. We're going to bring the hands out into Janu Mudra. So again, as I suggested, finding a place, something that's not moving, and then see if you can bring that left foot out. And then back in. And then down. Always going to switch sides. Right up to pulling into the arch of the left foot, the leg out. And in. Down. Beautiful. Exhale. Hands to the center. So, how's everybody doing? Should we get some tapas going now? Maybe get some heat going. All right. So let's come to downward facing dog.
So as we start to build some heat, we also want to make sure that we can keep our meditative state. So we're in downward facing dog. So inhale and bring your left elbow, so lift the left leg up nice and high, and bring the left elbow to your left knee. Turn on flat to the right leg, the right foot. Good. And then bring your left leg through. So it's like Bridget's cross. Beautiful.
First, you said bring your elbow to your knee. Just so you know, like I was like, how am I gonna do this?
Let's go back. Downward facing dog. Let's get as clear as you can. Take two. So go ahead. Bring. I knew as soon as I said I was going to be as clear as I can. So let's bring the left leg up. Bring your left knee to your right elbow, and hold and meditate. Start to turn that back foot flat, and then bring your leg through. Beautiful. Now, if you want a little more, you can start to bend the elbows off. If it's not necessary, you're going to probably get a big stretch here. And then breathing, take a nice deep breath. Inhale, push back up, and bring the leg up. Beautiful. Exhale, release down. Just kind of shake it out a little bit. Go ahead and lift the right leg up. Right knee to right elbow.
Left elbow.
Okay. Turn your back foot flat, and then bring your foot out. Okay, good. Beautiful. Really nice. Maybe bend a little bit down. Inhale, push back up. Come back, downward facing dog, and come into a child's pose.
Allow the sound of the gong to bring you back to your center. Allow the sound to bring you actually back to the sound of your own breath. And nice deep breaths there. A beautiful way to bring yourself back to the center, out of your thoughts, is to always be thankful. A litany of thank you for my body, thank you for this experience, thank you for this practice, whatever comes to your head, thank you for this day.
Now let's come on back up to all fours. Go ahead and push back into downward facing dog. And then let's bring the left knee forward to high lunge. And bring both hands to the front knee, square up the hips. Inhale, we're going to bring the arms up into a warrior one variation. So we're going to, I'm going to show you. We're going to find that balance through the arch. And we're going to come up and hold. So everybody join me. Come on, bring your right leg up. Just see if you can find your balance and then back down. So we're just focusing on balance. Up and hold. And back down. Fall over, you get extra credit. Inhale, come on back up and hold. And then back down. Go ahead and bring your hands, your right hand out, and we're going to come into an Anjaneyasana. Then the top hand, your left hand's going to come back down to your left knee, and you're going to come into a low lunge. Depending on your knees, you may just bend the back knee. Otherwise, you might reach back with your opposite hand. Get a little bit more of a stretch. Exhale, release, and we're gonna come into lizard pose. So options, you can just come in with both hands and come down. You can use a block. And in these poses where we bow forward especially, bring in that sense of humility and gratitude and just breathing. So many times I think in our practice we think of the things we cannot do. But be with what we can do. Be with what is. Go ahead and come back to neutral with both hands on either side and then just push back and downward facing dog. To walk our feet forward. Inhale, coming up. We're going to switch sides with balance. To start this side, we're actually going to step back into the unknown. So I think you guys are switching back by putting your right leg back. Is that correct?
Left leg.
Left leg back. Cool. So focus first on this pose, warrior one. Pull into your core, hips, try to they're kind of even out or pulling in, and feel as if there's a string at the top of your head as we inhale and we come up. Exhale, back down. Inhale up. Exhale. One more time. And back. And then one more time up and hold. Exhale. Back to lunge. And bring the hands down. This time the left hand will come out. Finding that Anjaneyasana, opening up. And then exhaling to low lunge and finding that thigh stretch, whether it's just bending or reaching back. And then releasing and then finding your lizard pose. So again, you can use your block or just bring your elbows down to the mat. Still tracking that front knee towards the middle of the body. Just allowing the body to open up, but still trying to maintain that sense of ease. Toes together and your knees wide. And come on down to child's pose for me. Just the way we are. Just come on to all fours, but you know, we'll turn this way. So bring your right leg out to the side and then inhale, coming up with your hands on your hips.
Back toes can be turned under to give you a little bit more balance. Flat is actually going to challenge you a little bit more on balancing. So whichever way you like. Inhale, bring the arms up. Then on your exhalation, we're going to come over to the left. The fingertips, you can use your block. Hand can be flat. And then inhaling, bringing in the hand up, looking up towards those fingertips. And isometrically pulling your right foot and your left knee towards one another. Inhaling back up to neutral, and then just coming over with the hand onto the thigh, left arm up and crossing over. Inhale, back to gate pose, coming onto your knees. Just bring your hands behind you. Roll the shoulders, lift. Nice deep breath. Exhale, release. We're going to switch sides. So bringing the left foot out, arms up. First we'll come over to that right side, left fingertips up. Take a nice deep breath. As we tuck the tailbone, you can feel that left arm come back just a little bit more. Feel the beauty in the movement, what we're doing. Pulling the cord, inhale to come up, and then sliding down the left side of the right arm up. Nice, beautiful deep breaths. Release, and we'll come onto all fours. All right, so we're gonna come down onto our right side. And find a way to balance with your right arm. So the leg underneath your right leg is gonna be, you're gonna keep it pretty stationary, and then you're gonna bring your left foot in. We're gonna grab the big toe. Great. Inhale. Go ahead and bring it up to the sky. Beautiful. Take a nice deep breath here. Now, most of us can do this when we come into it this way, but you can always use a strap. Good. Nice. So bend that knee, reach around the back of the leg and grab your ankle. So now we're going to line the legs up. So your left knee is going to come straight out from your hip towards the back. You got it. And we're getting a nice opening, a thigh stretch. Again, this is a little bit more accessible for most of us as well. Beautiful, breathing nice and deep. And then on your exhalation, just let the foot go, and we're going to turn onto our bellies. Feet flat, straight out back behind us. Hands about halfway back on towards the chest. We're going to lift up slightly into like a little baby cobra. And then we're just going to we're going to like move the shoulders back and forth. So try to leave your hips where they are and try to get a little fluid motion in your upper body. Exhale, release down. Bring the hands back behind you. And we're gonna lift the torso. So use your hands here. So we're gonna inhale up. Feet push down, hips push down. Curling up, beautiful. Nice deep breath. Exhale, release. So now we're gonna go ahead and roll to the other side. So you're gonna roll over to your left side. Find that support with the left arm. The left leg straight out, then go ahead and reach for your right toe with your fingers, and then lift up. Beautiful. We're up on the hip, you got it, looks really good. Nice deep breath here. Then on your exhalation, start to bend the knee, bring your hand back behind you to get that stretch. We're gonna bring the knee straight out. Nice deep breaths here. Exhale, release. This time we're going to come back to the belly. and we're gonna have some options. So just kind of listen for a second before you decide. We can just do where we're gonna lift the whole body up, feet and arms and up onto the hips. Some of us might feel like we're open enough to do more of a bow pose. Okay, so let's do that. We can either lift up. If your lower back is an issue for this, you can always leave your feet down. You can turn sideways. So options could be here, here, or here. Nice deep breath. Try to meditate here. Exhale, release down. Make a little pillow with your hands and rest. For some of us, the breath might be elevated. See if you can start to bring it back. See if you can find that sense of being even with the breath in your body. Then come on back up, and we're going to push back into downward facing dog. So lift your left leg up off the floor, toes are still pointed down, and then come up onto the fingertips of your right hand. This might be just good. We're going to pull into the core. And we might try to lift the right hand up off the floor, even if it's just slightly. And we might not. It might be enough for our core just to hold the fingertips onto the mat. Give that a try or two, and then exhale, come down to a regular downward facing dog. We're going to switch sides. So, lifting the right leg up, coming up onto the left fingertips, pull into the core. Use your focus of your mind to pull everything in. See if you can find a two-legged dog. Exhale, release, and then coming up all fours for a second. Just rest. Inhale, go ahead and bring your right leg forward. I want to come into high lunge. So the back knee, we always say we want it straight. Well, that's what we're thinking. But if you have any lower back issues, bending that back knee slightly will take all the pressure off of your lower back, and that's fine. Okay. We're gonna come into reverse side stretch. So arms down to the floor, inhale, the arms up, clasp the fingers, bend the elbows, and start to come to the outside of your right leg. Those of you who want to come into the full expression, take it down towards the armpit, coming into prayer position. If you've got some body issues where this might be a problem, twisting from just your hands onto your thigh is just as good. Those of you who want a little bit more might even take that left arm down and the right arm up to the sky. Breathing. Taking a couple nice deep breaths here. On your next exhale, you're going to bring both hands to the front knee, and we're going to revisit Anjaneyasana, nice and open. So just feel that exquisiteness of being able to open the body a little bit more. Beautiful. Nice. Couple nice deep breaths. Exhale, go ahead and bring both hands to the front foot, so your right foot, and push back into downward facing dog. Inhaling, bring the left leg forward. And we'll start in that high lunge position. Left leg forward, right? Okay, good. Inhale. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bending to the other side for a reverse side stretch. Wherever that might be for you, just reminding you it can be here, it can be on the outside. And then just twisting. Any variation with it you might want. Beautiful, coming back. Come into Anjaneyasana on this side. Just twisting open. And then exhale, hand to knee. Come down to all fours and come into a child's pose. Listening to the mind, seeing if you can hear the sound of your own breath. Perhaps it's like the sound of the ocean. It can be very relaxing, or whatever sound might be very relaxing to you. And then push back downward facing dog. And then bring your right leg forward into high lunge. Inhale, hands to both hands to the front knee. Bring both arms up into warrior one position again. So we are going to bring our opposite hand. So your right hand is going to come to your left thigh. And we're going to start to twist open slightly. So you'll be twisting open to your right side. Beautiful. On the exhale, release the hand from the back thigh, bring it back up. Inhale, then exhale, both hands down. Push back into downward facing dog. So we're going to revisit that little tricky thing that I kind of messed us up on here. So lift your right leg back up to the sky. Bring your right knee to your right elbow. Bring it to bring your right knee to your left elbow. Thank you, Beth. And then bring it through. So we're in that same position. Line up your wrist, elbow, and shoulder, and then bring your back foot flat and opening it up into like a Vasisthasana variation. Lift the hips, breathe. Beautiful. One more nice full breath. Exhale, release the hands down, bring the leg up, and then downward facing dog. This time, bring your right leg forward and come up with both hands on the front knee. Inhale the arms up. We're going to take that opposite hand down. Did I switch you guys or not? If I did not, I'm so sorry.
No, we just go the other way.
Just switch your legs. I'm having a day here, isn't it? Good. So you're going to switch so that you've got the opposite hand to the opposite thigh. Nice. A couple nice deep breaths. And then exhale, release your hands down to the floor and push back into downward facing dog. We're going to lift the left foot up, bring our left knee to our right elbow and bring it through. Turn your right foot flat and then inhale, coming up into a Vasisthasana variation. And breathe in. You all are beautiful, and I'm sure you do it at home too. Exhale, release the hand down,
Bring the leg back and come down into downward facing dog.
And then down to child's pose. Let's take a couple nice deep breaths. Be kind to yourself. Whatever might be going on in your life, let it be a sense of ease, even in your steadiness. These are challenging times, but we're fine. We are divine, and we're fine. Beautiful. Come on back up. So we're going to do a runner stretch. So we'll just do a runner stretch. Why not instead of talking about it? Let's go ahead and bring the right leg out. And we are going to, actually we're going to bring it, yeah, sounds good. Let's bring our hands down to the floor and bring our torso over that front knee. So square the hips off. And feel that opening, hopefully in the belly of the hamstring on the right side. And we're going to use some balance here. So pull your right toes back towards you. Then we're going to come up slightly. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right shin, and then your right hand to your hip. See if you can start to come up pretty straight over that leg and twist. Just take your time, breathe into it, see if you can get a little bit more of the twist since we're so open here. Exhale, start to bring yourself back. Come on down, and then just come on to all fours. And we're going to switch sides. So bring your left foot forward. Just find that nice runner stretch for that left hamstring. So pulling the left toes back towards you. Take a nice deep breath in. So come up slightly. I'm going to ask you to be on your back toes. So turn your toes under, good. And then we're going to bring the right hand to the outside of the right shin, left hand to the left hip. We're going to come up and then just keep twisting deeper. So you guys will be looking over your left side. Beautiful. Exhale, release. We're going to leave this leg out, and we're just going to bring it forward. So not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, we did some Hanuman. So I'm going to stay on the back knee here, but I'm going to really feel it in this front leg. So I'm going to pull the front toes back towards me. This is where we're going to concentrate. If you want to, you can go into Hanumanasana. You're warmed up enough for it. But what I'm just going to instruct us here is we're staying on the back knee and really focusing on that front leg, lifting the kneecap on the left leg, then maybe bring the heel out a little bit more. But really paying attention to the pose for yourself and where you are. Beautiful. Start to come back up and out of it. We're going to switch sides and do that on the other side. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. So you come back into that runner stretch with your right leg forward. And then just bring your heel forward. Just giving yourself that nice ability to bring those toes back into the opening in the back of the leg. And then inhale, come on back up. And we're going to come on all fours. So I'm going to give you options. We're going to do a longer hold on pigeon. So those of you who do better on your back, go for it, because we're going to stand in a minute or so on each side. I'm going to talk us through the traditional. Actually, I will show both. How about, do you want to come? Okay. So the first one I'm going to show is to do it on your back. So you'll bring your knee up, bring this over, and come into here. So those of you at home, if you can see, I'm making like a little 4. In the traditional pigeon, we bring your knee forward. And then up and over. And just take a couple nice deep breaths. The yoga poses are set up that as we breathe into them, and we make them into a meditation for ourselves, the body responds by the sense of ease that we're creating in our being, and it lets go. And then we also then start to understand what it means to have a contraction that we breathe into in our life. And we may hold on to it for a while, and then something says, breathe and let go. Let go. And we go back and forth, and back and forth. So on your next inhale, start to come out of that side of the pose and start to switch. Taking your time, keeping it meditative. Which way you're doing the pose, commit to feeling it. Take your awareness into that part of your body where you first feel it might be discomfort, it might be tightness. Take your one point of concentration. Imagine that you are breathing into that point in your body. Not with aggression, not with you can do this, but with a sense of love. A nurturing sense of opening yourself to taking care of something in your own being. Yourself to relax in the pose. And then on your next exhalation, start to lower that leg if you're doing that. Your leg up or coming out, and just come into a seated position. Take your time. So we're going to do just a little core. So we're going to do a pose called starfish. So So we're gonna lay back on our backs. I don't think you can see what I'm doing here. Your body like a big starfish. So we're working core, but we're gonna do it slowly and with intention. So lifting your right leg and left arm, you're gonna try to touch your toes and hold. Exhale, release, and switch sides. So we're gonna bring the right arm, left foot. Beautiful. Exhale, release. We're gonna go to the other side. So now lift your right arm and your left, so bring your right arm and your left leg up. And then bring yourself up as if you're coming into boat pose. So now we're, yeah, good. Hold. Exhale, slow release. Switch sides. So all the way up. Hold. Exhale, release. Switch sides, all the way up. Squeeze. Release. Other side. Exhale, release. And now, just come up onto your glutes. Bring your whole body up. Everything's up as high as you can. Pull into the core. Beautiful. One more breath. And on the exhale, you're going to let it go and really just fall down into the floor. Effort and release. Steady, ease. And get yourself set up for a couple bridge poses. Setu Bandha. You get to decide how difficult or challenging you want to make this pose. So first one we're going to do is just the regular, just bring your elbows in, hands are up towards the ceiling, feet are hip distance apart, a few inches away from the glutes. Inhale, bring the hips up towards the sky, then roll the shoulders underneath. Really bring the hips up, pushing the elbows down. Exhale, release. We're going to do a series of these. So try to just stay with the instruction, but if something is too difficult for you, you need to decide. Back to regular position. Inhale, bring the hips up. Good. Bring the left knee in, and then bring the left foot straight up. Take a breath. Beautiful. Exhale, that leg down. Switch sides with the hips still up. Right leg is up. Beautiful. Exhale down, hips down, hands on belly. Just relax. Arms back to elbows next to the body. Inhale, hips up. Bring your left ankle to your right knee. So we're doing hangman's bridge. Lift the hips. Bring that left knee down so you're getting a stretch to the inner thigh. Bring your hands flat down to the floor and push up a little bit more. Beautiful. Breathing in, holding the pose, not holding your breath. Exhale, hands back up, hips down, and then bring the foot down. Pause. On this side, we're going to bring the left ankle over to the right knee first, lift up, then drop that knee down towards the floor, hands down again towards onto the mat, push up, breathing. Exhale, release hips, bring the foot down to the floor and pause. One more, elbows now bent again. Inhale, bring the hips up. Bring your hands down underneath your glutes, clasping them. Roll the shoulders on. Give yourself, this is the last one. So tuck the tailbone, bring the chest towards the chin, and really open up the pose. Keep lifting the hips up. Breathing nice and deep. Finding yourself to be a bridge between your own breath and your serenity, your calmness. The bridge of the heart. Exhale, release the hands. Let the hands come down onto the belly. Maybe your knees will fall towards one another. And just find a sense of relaxation again in your body.
go ahead, you're gonna place your hands flat, bend your knees. You're gonna bring them in towards your chest and then take the feet up as much as straight and bring your feet down towards you. Beautiful. Bring your hands in and we're gonna try to reach our toes. It doesn't matter if you reach them. Find the maximum place for the reach. Pull the core in and then hold and breathe. Exhale, release, bring the knees down and pause. One more time, we're gonna bring the knees in, feet up, toes towards the head. Find that place where you can squeeze the lower belly in without really messing with your mind. Even though this is challenging, we're holding it and we're breathing. Now, some of us are going to bring our hands down under our butt and slow lower the legs down to the floor. If you need to release it a different way to keep your lower back safe, please do what you need to do. Then as you hit the floor, just bend your knees again. Let them rest, let your hands rest on your belly. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Ask you to roll over to one side or the other, and then just come up and grab your strap for a second. So let's bring the right leg out, left leg in. Get onto the sit bones. Strap or not, it's up to you. I'm going to use mine, especially to show folks here what we're doing. But sometimes I like to use the strap so I can get the full extension. Because I can get my hands to my foot, but then you can see my torso is compromised a little bit. So what I'm doing tonight is I am going to stay nice and vertical in my spine and bring my heart forward. So the focus is going to be my lower back muscles, going into the hips, and then just coming forward. Feel what your body needs tonight. Really grounding that right leg into the floor, pulling those right toes back. And then the heart longs to come towards the foot. With each breath, you might feel the body open up and release a little bit more. Good. Inhale, come on back up. And we're going to switch sides. So pulling the toes back, grounding that left foot, and then coming forward. Making the bridge the use of the breath with the body. Our mind, our bodies, our breath, our spirit, all want to come together as one unit and work. And in yoga, in our poses, in the asana, we get the opportunity to do that. To bring the mind into the body, to bring the breath as our guide. Just allow things to open up as they will, as they want to. Inhale. Coming on back up. We're going to take a second here to do a wide leg forward bend. So you can use a block. I'm going to show a couple different things here for people at home. So I'm going to actually turn sideways so they can see. So we're going to open the legs as wide as is comfortable. To get up onto the sit bones, there's a couple things we can do. We can lift up and then take the butt back, or we can actually spin inner thighs.
We'd like to be able to get the feet so that they're facing up rather than out, if possible. And then we're gonna come forward. So my strap is really long. I could use the strap. You could use a block to get comfortable on. Or for some of us where this is just a lot, we might just sit like this. And this might be a really big opening for us right here. I'm just gonna do a couple options while you folks here in class just take a breath. Connect with yourself. Inhale, slightly come up, and we're just going to turn towards the left leg and get a twist. And then slowly move to the other side. Beautiful. And then come on down. Before you guys come down to your backs, I've done this before, but I'm not sure if you guys were here. We're going to do what's called a craniosacral rock. It's really subtle. This is leading us into Shavasana. So I've got my feet up like I'm in bridge pose. I'm actually going to push on my thighs and try to get a little bit of a rhythm. Now that I'm forcing it, but I'm trying to do it with pushing on my thighs. It's going to be more subtle. But if that doesn't work, you can put your hands down onto the mat and then just rock your sacrum up through your spine and onto the occiput, so that little bony protrusion in your head. And it's kind of like a little rocking back and forth to massage the spine. Those of you at home, it's really a slight movement. But if you can get that, then just take a couple deep breaths. And then pause. Bring your left leg down and your right leg in. And then just take that right leg up. So you're going to bring your hands behind that back thigh, the right thigh. And then just take that leg off to the left. Maybe gently just push that right hip down towards the left foot. Take a nice breath. Inhale. Bring that leg up. Bring the opposite leg, your left leg up to meet it. And then take your right leg down. Bring your hands to the back of your left thigh to square off the hips. And then take that leg across the right side of your body, palms down, twisting them. A couple nice deep breaths here. Start to bring in a nice sense of gratitude for what you can do with your body. Inhale. Go ahead and bring that leg up and then slow lower it down. And then coming into your Shavasana position with arms open nice and wide, feet open. Allow yourself to let go after the overall effort of the practice. The non-dual form of yoga shows us that, or helps us to understand that our yoga practice, through the efforts that we make, really a mirror to what goes on into our life through the senses and what we experience. There's really only 2 sutras that talk about the poses. And when we think about yoga, we think about it being mostly about the poses. Sthira Sukham Asana, steadiness and ease. And not only through our practice, but also in our life. We build foundations and a steadiness, and then we allow ourselves to enjoy it. The bliss of Ananda. This pose that we're in now, Shavasana, corpse pose, is so important because as much effort as we can put into our life, it's just as important to remember to let go. The harder we hold on, the less joy, the more constraint we have, the more we let go, the deeper our love. Before we start any movement, just remind yourself through your heart how beautiful you are. Or if that's hard to do in the moment, just open yourself to the possibility of how beautiful you are. And take a nice deep breath in. We're going to do just an audible exhale while you're lying there. So inhaling. And start to move your fingers and your toes and your head from side to side. Then in your own time, with your own intuitive, beautiful self, just allow yourself to move, to come to a seated position at the top of your mat. As you find yourself at the top of your mat, just in a sense of gratitude for life itself, just bringing your hands in front of your heart. And then we'll end our session together, reminding ourselves that any moment in life can be quiet and meditative when we bring ourselves back to our breath, all of our movement, all of our joy. So we'll do our Om, so just breathing out and in. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
So nice to have you guys here. So nice to see you out there too.
Where's our kisses?
I do them when you're in Shavasana.